Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, I meant to do like a really long blog post, but for some reason I'm just a little bit tired. Although, I keep putting it off about having to explain away all the other stuff there. In some ways, it's like with me, with like the whole YouTube there. I usually do this sort of stuff, especially like on the long ones, because sometimes I just want to have an uninterrupted thing to blog certain things out. Especially if there are certain things that that it's more better for me to kind of say it on the phone or on YouTube rather than typing it out. And sometimes, like I said before, it's just I don't really type that well sometimes. And it's mainly because of like my eye, and mainly also because of the glaucoma there, and it leads to a lot of confusion with certain people sometimes. But then on the other hand, sometimes I would also purposely type bad, just to kind of annoy certain people, and but other times I don't really intend to annoy people like that. So, anyways, I think this year, how it started off was pretty good, I guess. I mean, although I should mention, it was like, I think it was like the first weekend of the, yeah, it was like the first weekend of the year. That was when I went to that whole party there. But although, I mean, it was on just not really far from the house, but it was just close by. But originally, I was gonna go to these two guys that I said, Dan and Dave, that just to play with them as far as that goes. If you know what I mean by that. I played with them like last year, but it was just that one of them just didn't want to come over to meet me, and then it wasn't until like later on he probably couldn't do that anyways because he was allergic to cats. So I came over even and managed to call up a cab, and then of course he paid for the fare, as far as that goes. And I kind of stayed there for like the night as far as that goes, but then I used the bus to get back, but as well as having Dad picking me up part of the way. So, anyways, I think it was about like 6 months ago when I kind of wanted to come over there again, but then he kind of canceled on the last minute, and I just lost touch with them. And then started talking to them again, about before the whole holidays and New Year's. And I was going to go and see them that day when they had the party because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go to that party there, but it was just a party that I kind of that some guy was hosting that was on Craigslist there, but so anyways, I was ready to go to Dan and Dave's house again, and then I probably should have told them I was coming before I left, but about the time I already got to the bus stop and I kind of already told them I was going to come over that day, because he said he wanted me to come over that day, which was like Saturday, and at the last minute he kind of changed his mind, saying like, oh, maybe next time, because he said he had like a sprained foot or something like that. Supposedly, And then and the day before, the day before where he was talking to me about like, oh, aren't you you're not gonna go around and zone out on me and not talk too much, blah 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 blah, that sort of thing. He was just being a little bit demanding about that and I should have mentioned to you guys, it was just that originally I just wasn't really sure about them as far as whether or not if I actually liked those guys enough to actually even want to have some sort of friends with benefits type relationship with them in the first place, because they were just a little bit older than what I normally go for, and then the fact that Dan was kind of being persistent with me back in at the tail end of 2010, and I think I just felt a little bit guilty enough to actually try to actually give him a chance, in some ways. And then the first time I kind of suggested sort of that, and he was going to come over, but then he was like then he kind of changed it the last minute, saying that he was too tired or whatnot, and then I came over, through calling a taxi and all that sort of stuff, but then at the end I think it's just, I was already kind of debating to myself whether I should just simply just end that sort of relationship with them, and just not talk to them anymore. And I guess I should have stuck with that sort of thing, or probably should never really tried with them in the first place if they were going to be that way, and how demanding Dan could be, as far as saying like, oh, he doesn't really want me to talk a whole lot and or not zone out and all this sort of stuff, I can't help that. It's just one of my things there. I just can't help the things I am, and even with like Dad, it's like Dad still cannot deal with all that kind of stuff there. So anyways, a little bit of a break here. So anyways, I just had to take a little bit of a break, So anyways, as I was saying so far, it was just that Dan was just being a little bit too demanding with me as far as that goes. It's just sex and all that. I just didn't really like guys that had a particular way of certain things that are a little bit even more particular, I got really annoyed by people that are like that. Although, on a related topic of it is, I had dumped a couple of guys that were on there that were like a little bit, that came off way too strong, even if it was just a hookup. It seemed like there was like maybe a guy that was like over in Tustin somewhere that okay, I was just going around saying hi and all that sort of stuff, and it goes around and asks me about what kind of underwear I wear, what brand it was, and all this sort of thing like that, It just really put me off, I mean, why did they really want to know what kind of underwear I wear and all that sort of stuff? I mean, although I wouldn't mind, but if they were just being all choosy about it, that is just something that I'm just gonna have as a deal breaker. Anybody that seems to be even more eccentric than I am, here with me with the Asperger's syndrome, and I can be a bit eccentric at times, but I try not to be that eccentric. And there are some people that are I hate using that term anyways, norms, there's some norms or normal people that seem to be just as eccentric as I am in some cases, But then, it's like, I shouldn't really go around and say that sort of stuff. But then, as I said before, it's just, I encountered maybe about 2 or 3 guys that were like that. That maybe I just wanted to hook up with them and it came off way too strong with me. And then it happened to me like maybe about 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, twice on 2 different guys that were like came off way too strong for me. And it was this guy, I think his name was Chris. I think he was like talking to me, and then I kind of called him up there, even though I kind of wasn't really that interested in him, And I think I talked to him about for probably roughly 2 hours, and when people don't know me, I don't really talk a whole lot, it's like, unless if I feel comfortable talking to certain people, then I could talk to people as far as like that, just like anybody else. But normally it's just I have to have a reason to talk to other people. I can't just talk to people just for the sake of talking to people. That's just not me, and it's just mainly an Asperger's thing, I just can't talk to someone just for the sake of talking to someone. I can't just simply just socialize just for the sake of socializing, I have to have a purpose of it. Whether if it's just wanting to have some fun with somebody, or just wanting to tell them about what my day is, or all that sort of stuff there, but that's just basically it. I don't really want to go around and have all this like meaningless chit chat and all. So, as I was saying, as far as with Matt, great. I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. So, anyways, excuse me for that. So, anyways, as far as what I was saying with like Dan and Dave, that I guess my first impressions with them was that Dan was just being a bit of a bother, and I was trying to turn him down at least gently, in a more nicer way, without having to hurt his feelings and all that sort of stuff, and where I'm not going to feel that guilty. I mean, as I kind of talked about so many times on here and on LiveJournal about Matt, that I felt really guilty about turning him down, So, anyways, as I was saying so far, it's just that I have a hard time trying to say no to people, as far as because that, in a way, I should mention this many times, that because of that, it's like I would try to say no to somebody, like even if it was more of a romantic like setting, kind of nicely at first, and then in some ways I try to be nice with them, and then I end up kind of getting real mean at them, when it happened. I think I had at least several occasions where some guys that were on Bear WW or Bear 4-1 or Bear City, or even some other places there, that they were bothering me, and they were probably might be a little bit too old for me, or they didn't live locally, and they were kind of interested in something more than just simply a friendship with me. So what happened with one was like like the first time I started there. Then I kind of had to say no to him at least once or twice. You know, and then that guy just wouldn't leave me alone. And it happened like maybe about like 6 months ago. I think it was probably about 5 or 6 months ago. There was just some guy that was on WW that lived in like Quebec somewhere, that was interested in something more than just pen pals with me or something like that. And I try to be polite with him, you know, saying like, sorry, I'm not interested in guys that don't live in my area who are more than just pen pals, like just like that, you know. And then the second time he was like, I said to him, like, the second time when he was starting to bother me, I said like, what did I just say? Yeah, I'm not interested. Now just fuck off, you know. Fuck off and leave me alone, you know. And then I had to go around and email that guy there through there to tell him that I'm just not interested, and you know. And then it took me like maybe about 4 times, because then there was a time where I said to him there, it was just where he was going to say like, well, maybe I'll come and visit. And I said like, if you come near me, I'll file a restraining order against you. I'll never sleep with you. And that was like the thing that I kind of basically said to him there, is that I'll never sleep with him. And after that, he just basically left me alone. And then it happened like maybe about, it happened like a couple of times there when, I think it was some guy that was like from like Hong Kong, around one time where he was trying to chat me up or try to get me to like him, you know, and that I just basically told him no, you know, it's just I'm not interested in somebody like that lives that far away, you know. I think that was basically it, you know. I kind of told him like maybe just at least once, and then it happened like maybe about one time as far as some guys that were around here that I was just not really interested. That I basically told him like once. And I think one guy just got the hint, you know, and then another one I just had to say like, leave me alone, you know, and that was it, you know. But I just don't really understand that sort of thing, you know. I mean, and then in a non-romantic setting there was, it happened to me maybe about a couple times where last year, I think. It was like the door-to-door missionaries, and then it was just some other door-to-door solicitor there, you know, that the door-to-door missionaries, I think I just got all angry at them for bothering me, and I actually slammed the door at them. And then as far as like the door-to-door salesman that was there one time, I just basically slowly closed the door on him, you know, because I clearly looked like I was just tired and not interested, and I basically kind of told him that I was just not interested, and then after that I just closed the door, you know, on it lightly there, you know. But then it was like yesterday. Or it was like yesterday or the day before, where it was another door-to-door missionaries, and then the same thing again, you know. I was just all livid with them, and I basically just slammed the door really hard that it reverberated around the house a little bit. And then Dad was saying to me like, well, did you slam the door, you know? And I said like, yeah, you know, it was just this door-to-door missionaries, you know. I just don't want to be bothered by them. Can't they just take a hit? I'm not interested in their whole spreading the Lord's message and all that sort of stuff, you know. I mean, and then I don't know. I just don't understand why people could be that way. I mean, when I say no to someone, it means no. It doesn't mean maybe or anything of that sort. It just means no. But if I didn't really say like a no, but if it was just something that I just want a little bit of space or a little bit of that sort of stuff, or they come on way too strong, where maybe I'll give them like a second chance of some sort, then that's just the case there. But if I just had no interest in them in the first place, then that's just basically it. They have to just accept that sort of thing. And that's just basically what happened with a couple people there. So, anyways, on to like my main point of everything. As as far as with like Dan and Dave, I would say they were like okay and all, but it's just like I said before, it is that Dan was just a little bit demanding about it, all the little sex stuff there and all that. But I don't think I really want to talk to them anymore as far as that goes. And then what I probably should mention now is that Dan, I think, was just only interested in me simply because I'm a dead ringer for his partner Dave, in a way more of a younger version of Dave almost. And I think that's just the only reason like he's interested in me for. But I don't know. I don't know, people, but it's one of those little things that I should have at least mentioned so many times before about that, but I just kind of all these like thoughts in my head, and then like they're all trying to all get out at the same time, and that's just one of my little things, So, anyways, as I was kind of saying about not just Dan and Dave and all that, but the whole party there, So after I think Dan and I canceled out on me like for that last time, I decided to forget it and maybe I'll just like go around to that party there because it was closer by. And so anyways, it was, I think what happened so far was I think one of them they were gonna pick me up, and then I kind of decided, what, maybe I'll just have like Dad pick me up and drop me off to that place there. So then I think Dad agreed to do that, and I was like at that little party for a while, Although I was like back to like my old little thing again, where I was just being all quiet and doing all sorts of stuff. But I did talk to certain people there, and I did actually like one of the guys that was there, and I kind of did have a long time with him for a while, But I don't think I'll ever really get back to that guy there, as I was kind of saying, But the other thing I should mention is, as far as all the other things that were going on, with everything, not just like Dan and Dave and all that. How I feel like maybe I should just end that sort of relationship with them, but it's just gonna be hard for me to try to end it with them and have it stick. Because Dan could be a little bit persistent with me, And then I just don't think it was like the whole attraction to me. It's like is really that real, and that is merely just more of a physical and sexual attraction to me, not a genuine attraction for me. Because a lot of times it's just that the guys that I tend to encounter that I'm not really interested in, they always seem to be attracted to me physically, and that's just basically it. And I was kind of caged with this guy Matt that I kind of rag on on and on about a couple times, that he was just that way with me, so, although it happened not just with Dan and Dave, but it was another daddy there that was bugging me, and I only traded with him there because he just wouldn't leave me alone and all that sort of stuff, just to give him his fucking bone to chew on, But I think I had told my large journal friends to kind of at least to try to tell him to leave me alone, I hate having to have, like, the live journal friends or any other friends or other people speak for me in some cases when I just want somebody to realize that I'm not interested in them, I probably shouldn't have done that sort of case with Matt. And the first time that he was starting to bug me, I could have gone off and, like, told Ricky about it, that, oh, hey, Ricky, like, oh, even though we had, like, a night out and all that, but I wanted to see where this goes, and although I kind of needed a little favor from you, and there's this guy bothering me, and I kind of want you to tell him to leave me alone and all that. And then if he did that, then Matt would have gone and said something like, oh, hey, I didn't know you had a boyfriend or interested in someone else. Well, good luck, Although, it was, like, easier said than done, practically. But, as I could say so far, it's just, I have to check, see. Okay. Even though it was easier said than done so far, but as I could say, that I'm running out a little bit of time because now it's like my throat's starting to get a little bit sore, so anyways, I think I'll have to do another break. Hey people, it's me again. So anyways, I'm back from my break. So anyways, the last two parts were, one was like for 7 minutes, and another part for about almost 20 minutes, so I'm probably going to talk maybe not as long, hopefully, maybe even, I don't know, it depends on everything, So anyways, I'm having another, as they're getting all wiry from the comp again, so anyways, excuse me for that. So, anyways, as I was saying, so far with okay, yes, what I was saying so far with, like, with Matt and Ricky there, I mentioned it so many times so far, but I had a hard time trying to get Matt off my back and get him to realize that I was just only interested in him as a friend. And that was it, that I only liked him as a friend. And, I might have would consider him for something more than that if he hadn't acted all clingy, with me. But the only reason I just didn't like him that much was because he kind of came off way too strong and was being very clingy with me. And then when I tried to let him down gently, he got upset with me, and I felt bad about it. And I felt bad about it enough that maybe I was going to try to give him give him a chance. And then when I started to give him a chance, it sounded like he was just not interested in what I had to say and all that, and that he was just only interested in telling me what he wanted to hear and all that. And that it blew him off. I mean, I still feel a little bit bad about it, but in a way, I just wish that if he was just only interested in just sex with me, then why couldn't he just say that right then and there? You know, that was just pretty much the way he was acting the entire time with me. So, anyways, as I was kind of saying so far now, yeah, although I feel bad about it there, and still feel bad about it there, at least with being guilty with Matt, and all that. But agreed. I had to take like another break there, but I feel like I had to do another thing that's kind of important, I had to do some eye drops, So, anyways, I already have like the eye drops on, so excuse me for like me kind of rubbing my eyes and all that for it all being all watery because I had to take the eye drops for my glaucoma, and also the keratoconus. I mean, although I think I still have it there, but but also still like the whole glaucoma there. So, anyways, as I was saying so far, with man, I still feel a little bit guilty about all that, but then it was just after that, I think it was like the first or second breakup with Ricky there. Yeah, it was like the first or second breakup with him there, and I just felt a little bit angry that Matt was like in my way, as well as like Dad being in my way, and I probably should have confronted Matt about it then when I was going around telling him that I was going to go around and see someone else, like right after I broke up with Ricky there, I mean, right after he broke up with me, technically on that sort of thing. Right after he broke up with me, because he just didn't know how to deal with the fact that I was changing, because he got upset with me for changing the roles again, about the relationship and all that, but I was kind of confused about what I wanted to do with Ricky, whether if it was just an actual relationship with him or just sex there, but I think that was just the case that happened so far, and then like I said, maybe I wanted just sex with him, and then changed it back to just maybe I wanted a relationship again, and that's what it was the last time I kind of said when I broke up with him that time, and I was going around telling Matt that I wanted to see someone else like right then and there, like that, and he goes around and says like, well, you're going way too fast, you should really think about that, or really take some time to think about it, and then I think I was just really mad at him there because I should have just confronted him like, well, look who's talking, man, you were gunning for me since day one, that sort of thing, and I could have just simply told him off there. It was just, and that furthermore, you and I are just friends. I was just trying to get you to understand that the entire time, but you just wouldn't listen. That sort of thing. But So, anyways, I think the funny thing was that maybe I was kind of like interested in this guy Jim at the time, but and Jim was kind of not really sure about me. I was kind of somewhat interested in him, like at least in some ways. And then the funny thing was like Matt was like very interested in me, but I was kind of not really that sure with him, but mostly leaning to not interested there. So I think it's coincidentally, I think they were both friends, that it was like on Bigger City that I think Matt was on there, but I think I actually did try to add him one time, maybe before. Yeah, it was like before I blew him off. I'm not exactly sure about that. Before I blew him off, and then he didn't accept the invite there, And I think that might have been the other reason why I kind of blew him off there. Because if he was going to be interested in just a friendship with me, he could have at least added me as a friend on Bigger City rather than just not add me there, But I think the funny thing was it was probably right around the time when I got back to it was right around the time when I got back together with Ricky and that was like right around the same time when I broke up with Matt as a friend there, And I think I kind of was telling him off every once in a while about how much I didn't really care for much for him. And then, not only that, it was also, not only that, it was not just him, not only that with him, it was just also, I think I'm just going to have to turn this down a little bit, so in that. So, anyways, as I was kind of seeing so far with all the stuff, that So, anyways, as I was saying so far, with Dan and Dave and Matt, I kind of had a hard time trying to turn them down a little bit without having to hurt their feelings, So, as far as Matt, although I did feel a lot guilty from doing that. It seemed like it had to be done because I just didn't feel that way about Matt. And that he did. He did that way about me, but honestly, it seemed like the more I tried to look into whether if he was really interested in me for me and actually interested in the relationship and all that, it's just merely that he just either didn't want me to see the real intentions, and he was just interested in just sex, or interested in me as a whole. That was kind of one of the reasons why I basically done that to him. So, anyways, although one of the other things I was gonna talk about besides all of that, there was also like the whole stuff with Ricky, but I mentioned earlier about Ricky coming back, or at least not necessarily like all the way this time. It's just merely like itching a little bit, but in a way, I told another friend the other day that I'm kind of not really sure about him and Drew, I said as far as with him, the whole drama with him last year was started simply because I had just jumped the gun a little bit, I mean, more than a little bit. I guess, I don't know. And then when I try to pull away and move on and it gets jealous of me, that sort of crazy little thing, So, anyways, although I'm kind of now back to just not speaking with him for a while, I had let Ricky know about him a little bit in a way that Ricky and I are like on good terms with one another, or at least relatively at this point, But as I could say so far, it was like my relationship with Ricky wasn't really like a normal relationship there because of the fact that he was always busy with work or school, and I couldn't really drive to see him, and basically at that time I just felt really uncomfortable with having Dad taking me places and all that sort of stuff, or even my brothers doing that too, or my mom, as far as that goes. Even if I were invited to certain things, but then like I kind of said so many times, is when it was kind of like maybe like the other day about how that if people wanted me to be social, all they had to do was just try to do the other half of the legwork. I can't really just do all the legwork on my own. But that's just the thing with me. That as far as like any of them, they had to at least invite me over to certain things. As far as that goes. Especially with one of my high school friends' weddings and birthdays and stuff like that, and all they had to do was just invite me and do certain stuff like that. Or if they wanted to come around and invite me for like coffee or dinner or whatever it is, and just to catch up with me. As far as all the other little things, I did catch up a little bit with another high school friend of mine, and then did not only did I catch up with him there was also catching up with Ricky there, as I had said before, and again was catching up with him, just little by little, but I don't know where that's going to lead into. And it's like the case with Drew, I don't know what that's gonna lead into, if I'm gonna be back with him, or if it's just, or Ricky, or it's just gonna end up being like the battle of the exes, where compatibility and passion meets versus stability and predictability, that sort of thing. But I don't know where I kind of put that there. I mean, compatibility and versus predictability or stability there. The whole passion versus stability kind of thing. I don't know what is up with people like that. Why they have to be splitting hairs of that. You might kind of have like a guy be like, have enough passion in and out of the bedroom where it's not going to be boring, but have enough stability where it's not, where I'm not going to be all torn up emotionally and there, you know. There's like the case point through, you know, that things with him were pretty good there, and then when it got all ugly, it was all torn up emotionally and in some ways. And then as far as with like Ricky, you know, it was like predictable there, you know, in some cases, but I think I just wanted more with him, but I had to go around and try to fight my way to him, and then felt a little bit even more frustrated when things weren't going that way, you know, and where I started to lose feelings. I was just wondering what was going on with that, you know. So, anyways, even though it's been like about another 15 minutes and I have another 20 minutes there, plus the 7 minutes, I think I pretty much made a really long video so far. So, anyways, I think that's probably it. So, anyways, talk to you guys later.